Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg from Jerusalem, and another class on Gemini ascendant with Mercury and the different signs. Tonight we'll talk about Mercury in its own sign, Virgo. So a person who's got Gemini rising with Mercury in Virgo, it's a very, very powerful mercurial combination. Because, like we said, Gemini by nature is ruled by Mercury, and Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So when Virgo is in Mercury, it's going to be very mercurial, together with the ascendant. So it's going to give a person who has great mental capabilities. Right, theoretical mental capabilities, like in Gemini, the air Gemini, but with Mercury and Scorpion, Virgo, trying to bring them down into practical applications. Right, to bring down the Mercury and to use it in a practical way, a lot of practical intelligence. And when Mercury is in the fourth, there's going to be a strong connection to the home, the family, the earth, right? The fourth house is the earth. There's always something I always miss in astrology. I don't know why, but I know why. I'll explain it to you in a minute. One of the things I tend to overlook a lot is when you have like the planet that rules the career, or the planet that rules the ascendant in the fourth house, is going to be a strong interest in agriculture. Right? It's in the more older books. It mentions that as one of the careers of a person has the 10th and the 4th, there's going to be an interest in agriculture, because the 4th house rules the land, the home, the land, where a person grows up, right? And so I tend to overlook it, I think, because, I grew up in New York City and there wasn't a whole lot of farmers there. So I wasn't, accustomed to saying, the person's going to be a farmer. I would just say, the 10th and the 4th can be other things. It can be a lot of times it can be, for example, connected to the career of the father. A person goes into the family business. The person got 10 in the 4th. Or the 4th and the 10th also, for that matter. They're both connected with being part of the family business. And of course, there's other stuff, history. I've seen professors of history. I got the ruler of the 10th and 4th, because 4th house is connected with the past. I've seen it with a lot of things, but one I tend to overlook, which is a fairly common thing, is the agriculture. And you see in his chart, actually, I'm going to do a chart tonight of somebody called Neil Armstrong. He was the first man to set foot on the moon. He wasn't really, but actually he came from a farming background, and after he retired, he was his career is very, I don't remember, he went into the army or the Air Force, whatever. Became a jet pilot. First he went to college, studied aeronautical engineering, I think. Then he went into or maybe went to the army first, and then he got money from the army, and then studied aeronautical engineering. Then he became a pilot, a test pilot. Eventually got into the NASA space program, and eventually he walked on the moon. The first man to set foot on the moon. But in any case, when he retired, he has, we'll look at his chart in a second, he has the ruling planet, Neptune in the 4th, and I guess after he left NASA, he was a professor for a few years in engineering, and then he went back, became a farmer, cattle rancher, and you see that. One of the indications that he has a very, very strong 4th house. He's got Mercury, first of all, Mercury in honor there, which means he's going to be very important in the end of life, and it's his ruling planet, so he's going to be very attached to the land and the home, and it's connected to Neptune. Gives an almost religious attachment to the land, and also the sun is in the 4th house in honor in Leo. a very, very powerful indicating fame. Leo is almost connected to the 4th house cusp. And so why did he come back so well? If he's got this ruling planet in the 4th and the sun in the 4th, how did he end up on the moon? Right? And so in his chart, you see, he's got Gemini, which each pairs of the zodiac, they tend to be interested in like a certain area of life, and he's got a strong Gemini Sagittarius element to his chart. And he's got the ruling planet in Gemini with Mars in Gemini. A person who likes the dangerous Mars is, fast and furious. In Gemini, the sign of autos and airplanes, and it's opposed by Moon in Sagittarius. So this person's got Moon in Sagittarius, is going to be interested in travel. Right, so he's got the Moon Mars opposition. Both in his in angular houses also. He's a strong chart. He's got those two in angular, and he's got Mercury and the Sun in the 4th angular, and Neptune. And so there's a pull also. There's a pull to be. So you see, here's a chart where the at least for most of the life, the ascendant moon axis overplayed where that of the ruling planet was. But he did raise a family, had children, right? So you see also the 4th house, and he eventually became a farmer. And so you see actually both of the things in his chart. So eventually, though, someone who's got a Gemini with that Virgo, they're going to be very successful because they got the ruling, barring some like really bad aspects to the Mercury. They'll be quite successful because they get the ruling planet in honor, and it's in the planet there, the house that's connected with the second half of the life, the end of the life. So it considers a person who's going to be almost, honored. In his chart with that Neptune exactly conjunct his Mercury, he has like almost a mythical status in America because he was, the first man to set foot on the moon, and he was always, what did he say? One small step for man, one great leap forward for mankind, something like that. When he stepped on the moon, and so it makes him, almost a mythic character in American history. And you see that with that Neptune, conjunct the ruling planet. But you also see the connection with travel in his chart. Also with the Gemini Sagittarius, the angular planets in Gemini and Sagittarius with the angular Gemini ruling, and so it's going to give him a strong interest in travel. Also, his ruling planet Mercury is connected to the moon by trine aspect. Even though they're in different elements, there is a trine. And also connected with his Mars, he's got his Mars, which is in Gemini, the house of the travel. He's got an exact sextile with Uranus, almost exactly 60 degrees. So again, it's the daredevil, right? Always the Mars-Uranus people are the daredevils, and they got lots and lots of energy, right? And so you see that also in his chart, and also the Uranus is going to be connected with his moon, right? So it's going to heat up the Uranus because it's going to excite also those houses that are connected with travel, those planets that are connected with travel. So you see both in his chart. And it's quite interesting chart, and I thank everybody for listening.